Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, we have Ivan the Bonesmith on the test server. This dude looks like an absolute savage. I tell you what, it is no wonder I couldn't pick out the silhouette that they posted, because that thing there's his head. I did get the hand. I said it was a skull. Looks like a ghostly skull, but this guy is really cool. Quick TLDR on his skills, and then we'll jump into it just so you guys get a roundabout of what he does. Is essentially, and I was thinking about this the other day because I've played other games where you have units that basically attach themselves to another unit, and that's what he does. I absolutely love this style of play, and I think he's going to have viability in most areas of the game. Now, I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm always wrong, let's face it. But just the way he works, I feel like he's going to have usability. I feel like pretty much all modes, even campaign, if his shields are chunky enough, but we'll have to see. But basically, his ult attaches him to an ally. He increases their attack, their haste, their crit rate, their energy regeneration, and gives them a real chunky shield. And that's pretty much what he does. And then he summons these little ghouls every 5 seconds that like basically suicide bomb into the enemies and explode. And then on top of that, when he uses his ult, he's gonna like terrify an enemy for like 6 seconds, I think it is. Now, some of this stuff might be tied into the engravings and the signature item and the furniture, but that's like the general gist of what he does. But he also sacrifices his allies' health to do all these things, but I think he's going to be good. Let's go through his skills entirely, and then we'll take a look at him. Once again, looks like an absolute savage. Those little things he summons, and they suicide bomb into the enemies. It's pretty cool. But once again, big descriptions. But the good thing about this guy is he's got 2 shorter descriptions, which I do appreciate, Lilith. Thank you very much. But let's start off with the hard one, which is the ultimate, Spellbound. Ivan hides into the darkness. When it says yes, he hides into the darkness, but effectively it's like that attachment play because he's like off the field. But you get what I mean. Same deal. Anyway, hides into the darkness and becomes untargetable while manipulating the allied hero with the highest initial attack rating. Now, the one thing I would say about this is I would love it if they just implemented the Rosaline system on this guy. Like, just implement the Rosaline system so you can choose who he targets. Don't make us play around with gear again. That was a nightmare. That would be my one wish with him, is to implement the Rosaline system where you can select who who his primary target is. If they're dead, who cares? Then just go based off whatever you want. But yeah, at the moment it's the target with the initial the highest attack rating, and it's for 16 seconds, which is decent. They call them the puppet. He sacrifices 10% of the current health of other allied heroes, granting the puppet a spirit shield equal to 2000% of Ivan's attack rating and the total health that's sacrificed from your allies. Pretty chunky shield. The spirit shield cannot be dispelled and can protect the puppet against control effects whilst under manipulation. So you get a chunky shield and you can't be controlled. The shield disappears when the manipulation ends, which is the 16 seconds. If the shield is broken, Ivan will manifest early and stop manipulating the puppet while losing 20% of his max health. While hiding in the darkness, Ivan can acquire up to 800 energy, so he can use all his energy to, like, I call it attach because it's the simplest way for me to describe it. So he sacrifices all 1,000 energy to attach, but then he can generate up to 800, so it's like you just got 200 left to go and you bang, back on it. Pretty cool. When no allied hero can be chosen as a puppet, he instead receives a spirit shield equaling 2000% of his attack rating. So even if everyone else is dead, I feel like maybe early game carry. I might have to experiment with that. You guys know I love early game. While being manipulated, a puppet receives attack rating and haste equal to 60% of Ivan's attack rating and 60% of his haste. Not too bad. Decent little buffs. When manipulation ends, 100% of the shield's remaining value is converted into health and returned evenly to all allied heroes. If the shield, this is the big one, if the shield is broken, Ivan sacrifices 10% of the current health of all allied heroes and replenishes the spirit shield equal to 2000% of Ivan's attack rating and the total health sacrificed. This effect can only be triggered one time, but that's like a bonus, like cheat death type thing. It's like they blow up the shield, okay, shield comes back. That's where I think he'll have viability in campaign if this kind of works out the way I think it will, but we'll have to wait and see. So that is that one. I don't even know what skill we were on, but wait, we were still on... We were still in the ultimate, dude. I've read so much. Okay, easy skill. Art of Agony. Each time an allied hero other than a puppet receives damage equal to 5% of their max health, they recover 20 energy points for Ivan, and that's how he's going to generate up to that 800 energy. It goes up to 50 points with skill ups, and then while being manipulated by Ivan, a puppet receives 6 additional points of crit rating for every 100 energy points Ivan possesses. He gets up to 800. 6 times 8. Math is hard because my brain is cooked. I want to say, what's that, like 40, 48? Okay, my brain's cooked. 48. That's what it is. Moving on. All right, so Skeletal Squire. Ivan sculpts one Skeletal Squire in the allied half of the battlefield every 5 seconds. The Squire inherits 100% of his attack rating, health equal to 300% of his initial attack rating, and 50% of his other attributes. The Squire dies when its health is exhausted or 4 seconds after it's sculpted. It's a suicide bomber, you'll see. The Squire actively attacks the nearest enemy with 100% of its attack rating while taunting nearby enemies for 1 second. I feel like that is going to be decent. During the first attack. When the Squire perishes, it deals damage equal to 300% of its attack rating to nearby enemies. When an allied hero dies, Ivan immediately sculpts a Skeletal Squire where the hero dies. And then on top of that, with skill ups, when an allied hero dies, Ivan sculpts an enhanced Squire with double the attack rating. And then when an enemy hero dies, he sculpts one Squire. This effect can only be triggered once every 5 seconds. When the Squire dies, Ivan receives 200 energy points. Now, I'm pretty sure that's only the Squires that are summoned by this one skill of enemy heroes dying, but if that's all Squires, it's pretty solid. But yeah, I think it's only that one. And then for 30 Engraving, all Squires' haste is further increased. When the Squire dies, the enemies damaged lose 300 energy points and are stunned for 3 seconds. Keeping in mind we're taunting, and if you've got them grouped up, it means you're like a pretty solid stun lock. Because they're summoned every 5 seconds. So you got like almost like a 50% uptime when you consider travel time and stuff like that they take. I think it's pretty decent. Moving on from that, we have Captive Audience. Each time Ivan hides into the darkness, so uses his ultimate, he selects the nearest enemy hero. I don't know whether that's the nearest enemy hero to his current position or the ally that he's imprinting on, is what I'm going to call it. I don't even know what I call this anymore. The selected audience then flees in panic for 3 seconds, which goes up to 6 seconds with basic upgrades, and also have their defense rating reduced by 35% and up to 35% of his attack rating. Then for Engraving 60, when control ends, the enemy hero released from the panicked audience state has their haste reduced by 35 points for 8 seconds. Nothing crazy. I don't think this is a crazy 60. I actually like his E30 more. So I think that's really nice. Like having like the lower investment, the better one. Signature item. When Ivan hides into the darkness, uses his ultimate, he sacrifices 2% of the current health of other allied heroes every 2 seconds and replenishes the shield for 90% of the total health sacrificed. It's not too bad. So you're replenishing that shield. It goes up to 120%, it goes up to 150%. But then at 30, when other allied heroes sacrifice their health, which is done from this and from the other abilities that sacrifice their health, a puppet, which is the ally with the highest attack that he's like imprinting on, as I like to say, recovers 100 energy points. So I feel like he's going to be at 30 signature item, a massive battery for whoever he's on. Like I think it's just going to be insane, but have to wait and see. But I really do like this. And then we jump into his furniture, where at level 3, when Ivan hides into the darkness, he sacrifices 8% of the current health of the audience every 2 seconds. That's the enemy that he's terrified. To replenish a puppet's spirit shield for an equal value. Once again, adding to that shield. The health sacrificed each time will not exceed 200% of Ivan's attack rating. Then at 9, during manipulation, damage received by the puppet is reduced by 50%. So we get some juicy mitigation too. But honestly, in endgame PvE, that's not going to be crazy. We all know, like, you know, mitigation, unless it's immunity to damage, you get kind of boned. But for PvP and stuff like that, I think it's going to be very good. So that is his kit. Let's go take a look. Like I said, long description. Basically, I like to say he attaches or imprints on an ally. They get attack, they get haste, they get crit, they get energy, and they get a chunky shield. Yeah, and then he's got bombs that basically go out, and then with engravings they're going to stun, and then he's got a 6-second stun on this. I think he's got a pretty solid kit with a lot to it. That's my opinion. Let's wait and see. I definitely can't wait to test this guy. So let's jump in here. Boom. We'll just leave it on 4 times speed. You get an idea. You can see it's cool that like he is the shield. It's like he, see, like I think it's cool. Like it looks savage, and you can see little suicide bombers that come every 5 seconds. You poof, you poof, you poof. It's really cool. I like it. I can't help it. I think it's really cool. All right, so let's jump over here. I tried to do him solo to see how he works when the shield goes on himself, but he just dies. So we'll do some experimenting in the early game on a fresh account because, you know, I do that thing. But yeah, he honestly, this thing he's really hard to test in. Like I tested him with like full like tank mode, like just to see if he could deal damage. His damage doesn't seem that crazy, but it's more about the support he gives. But when you go with full supportive team, like he does like jack all damage. But it's going to be about him. I feel like him with glass cannons is going to be like really cool. Like Awakened Athalia, maybe like him with like a glass cannon and Ulna. So Ulna protects them until he gets his energy full, and then he protects them. Something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's something to be had. I think he's going to be pretty good. I could be well wrong, but I'm excited to test this guy. I don't know. I never know just by like, you can think things, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think it's undeniable that he's got a savage appearance though. This is really cool. What does his face remind me of with those like the lines on his face with those eyes? There's some show or something that it reminds me of, but I can't put my finger on it. Someone please put it in the comments. But anyway, that is Ivan the Bonesmith. Get around him. Looks pretty cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.